All right. By that sound, we are officially live. So,
Nice.
just wanted to welcome everyone in to the very first installment of this brand new podcast to hit YouTube, Apple Music, hopefully soon. I ran into a few issues with them, so if you're
Ooh.
listening there, so hopefully you can soon. And to the listeners on Spotify, with tonight's first episode, we're kicking it off with Cole from Lego Men 360. Cole is not only just a close friend, but by far one of the most creative and skilled builders I've probably met in this space so far. And Cole, correct me if I'm wrong, you have well over a decade worth of experience in the world of Lego.
Yeah, I mean, I started as a kid in what was it? Like 2008 is when I first really got into Lego, and then 2009 I started the channel.
Okay.
And then, kind of had my little break, my kind of dark age and stuff like
Oh,
that.
yes.
So,
Everyone's
like
got
everybody does have at least, once, but I think it's like 3 years now, like 3 years ago now where I got back into Lego and started posting again and made so many wonderful friends and in the community and you know, so it's been really, really swell.
Dude, that's great to hear. So, without further ado, for everyone in the chat, just thanks for tuning in to the Brick Connection. And to let you know, every episode is brought to you by Matt Black Bricks. He's a good friend. Over the years, like 2 years now, getting close to. I couldn't have asked for a better sponsor for this. And I can say on behalf of him and I, we have some stuff cooking. It's probably based in the oven at 450 degrees right now. I see him. He's here in the chat. How's it going, buddy? Just very glad to have him on. And without further ado, we already kind of welcomed you in. So welcome in, Cole. How's it feel to be the very first guest on this brand new show?
Dude, like it's an honor. Like I was thrilled to like get the message saying like, "Hey, you want to be a guest on the podcast?" And I'm like, "Oh, sweet. Yeah." Like, and you're like, "Oh, you'll be the first guest." And I'm like, "Oh, yo, that's sick."
Yeah, I
So
tried. And we have a really weird, like, one of the first comments of the night. JD Vance is apparently watching. Vice President of the United States. He says Daddy's here. Right on. So, the very first thing I want to get into, but before that, how do you feel if we just welcome everybody in?
absolutely, yeah. Let's go through.
And before that, I want to just say a huge thank you to the outpour of support from everyone in the community. I made the Instagram account for it within 3 days ago, and it's already almost at 60 following.
Mm-hmm.
And I made the announcement saying, "Hey, yeah, the show's going to start this week." And I woke up this morning and because I did the post last night late, and then I woke up. I think 20 people reposted it. I'm like, just wow, especially for
That's
something
awesome.
This is a big passion project for me, something I've wanted to do for a very long time. But finally got the equipment to be here to do it. So,
Heck yeah.
I couldn't do it without everyone here involved and people behind the scenes like you helping me out, Kennedy, ACOB, that's Sean and Brent and Cody. There's so many people. I don't want to go down and list anymore or I feel bad, but just who you are. So just thanks. And, we're going to go for a little night drive while we welcome everyone in. All right, so let's see who was the very first. Cooper. Cooper was very first, and we got Shreddy. Ultra Bricks. Nimble. Not enough good things to say about Nimble. That man is something else. And we got Brick by Brick together. Nate Builds. He's going to be a future guest on the podcast.
Nice.
Shreddy, again. Then we got Kennedy. For all y'all listening, stay tuned. Saturday, he's going to be on. Then we got Sorpy, Malt's Vengeance, Papa Trip, Sorpy again. All right, so it looks like we got about everyone in here. If I didn't get you, I am very sorry. There's no ill feelings. All the boys all love Ostef. I try. So, yeah. So Cole, how are you doing today, man?
Doing good. Rushed home from work. I had to work a little later, so I got home and I just got everything set up. So glad made it on time. Can't have the first stream be late because of a guest. That's good. It's bad luck.
It happens. You can't always have it perfect the first go around, but So I want to encourage the chat here. I will not be reading you guys for a little while because I want to keep this kind of one-on-one. But feel free, whatever questions you guys have for Cole, just be sure to list them in here, and I'll pull from them as we go. And I'll interact with you guys every now and again. But just out of curiosity, like out of courtesy for everyone that's going to be streaming this afterward, I want to make sure that they're still getting, they can still feel involved. I don't want to leave anyone out. So without further ado, Cole, my first question to you tonight: what are you drinking?
Am I drinking?
Yeah. What's the refreshment of the night?
We're going to start off because it's only 6 p.m. my time. So I'm going to start off with a little bit of Rockstar. It's just a little bit. I have, just down to here. But then we'll chill out and, have some Arnold Palmer.
Oh, dude, you better crank it down a little bit. Don't need you getting, too tipsy on stream.
Yeah, no, not
even though it's non-alcoholic. There's no alcohol content in there. Yeah. I got like this new drink. It's called Element apparently, and I've been trying it. I'm used to like the packets or whatever, but I'm not really. It says my audio is cutting a tad.
Yeah, just bring your mic a little closer and you should be good.
Or I can get closer. How about that? Thank you.
Yes, we need that.
All right, is this better?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so my first question for you, Cole, is I went into a deep dive on your channel the other night. So I was kind of going back. Take me. I wasn't making content at that time when like 09 to 012, and you were. So tell me a little bit, like, how was it? What was the dynamic like making content then compared to what it is now? Was it more laid back, or was it even more high pressure than it is now?
Well, I mean, it was super laid back because, I mean, we grew up with the internet. So like back in that time, it was nowhere where it is now. Like influencers online was not a thing. Like that was just celebrity status. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So everybody who was just making videos and stuff like that was just doing it for fun, and just wanted to show off what they could do, just connect with other people and stuff like that. It was super positive. Like I'm not saying there's a lot of negativity in the community. There's a way more positive than negative right now, and that's great. I want to keep it like that. But it was just felt like, there was a lot more positive, like just connections, less beef, like back then, but
for sure
we were all kids. So, sometimes people would pick on other people for, no reason, maybe just because of jealousy or just immaturity, that kind of stuff. But growing up watching Lego Boy 1 through 8, solid bricks. And then there was Texas Lego Boy, there was Kesha 8,
then L'Occitane.
Yeah. Forest Fire. Growing up seeing his stuff was just amazing. It's just a guy a couple years older than me and just, doing some amazing work. I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, pizza movies, I would.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how many views that video has, but I will just say half of them are probably me. So I remember I would take my like laptop, and at home I would pull up the videos and stuff like that on different tabs, and I would load the video all the way up. And then, I put the laptop into sleep mode. I'd go to my grandma's house. She didn't have Wi-Fi or internet or anything like that. So I would just open up my laptop and then just constantly replay those videos over and over and over again.
Oh, you had to, man.
Yeah. So that's just what you had to do. And, but, oh, man, it was simpler back then, you look at stuff nowadays and the techniques and the part selection and
parts alone.
Sets, we're getting more sets this year than back 2 years worth of sets in 2008, 2009. So it's like there's just so much available now, and it's really great for the people that are growing up with Lego right now. And I envy you in that aspect. Like there's so much, but I also kind of feel for a lot of people because it's getting a lot more expensive. I mean, it was expensive back then, but the quantity of sets coming out, it's like you want to get a lot, you want to get most of them, if not all, and it's just like a lot of these high price sets are just so expensive.
There's just now I feel like now there's more FOMO involved with sets.
Yeah.
Just because of the social media posts and people like, oh yeah, I got like 6 of this Arc 170 today. How many did you get?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, excuse my French, it's kind of like a dick measuring contest in today's Lego society.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
I mean, there was definitely that going on back in the day too. I mean, there were a lot of people very envious of David with his collection and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, he had the opportunity to get all those sets and stuff like that, and I'm sure he was making money off of YouTube too.
Oh yeah.
So, and then same with Texas Lego Boy, like he had crazy armies and stuff like that. I'm sure his dad or mom, helped support them with that and stuff. So, it's like if you have the opportunity, might as well share it, but I think nowadays it's a lot more flexing on like people. Because I understand my position as an adult, like I can budget, I can do like odd jobs here and there, get more Lego. I have a space for Lego, like I can do whatever I want. I'm an adult, you know what I mean? To a certain extent, but like then there are these kids, like summer job can't cut anymore.
Little Timmy.
Yeah, shoveling driveways, mowing lawns. Little Timmy will get like $10-20 and what, one battle pack. That's
not
can't
even
do
a battle
lemonade
pack
stands
now.
nowadays without like getting the cops called on you because you don't have a permit. It's like it's ridiculous. So I really do feel
Cole's
for
the
the
one
kids.
calling the cops.
Yeah.
Cole's the
Just
one
around the
calling
corner,
the cops.
just like they don't have a permit.
Yeah, Cole's
They
like,
could be poisoning us.
Cole's like, them damn kids. They're the one trying to buy my battle packs. I gotta
Yeah.
I gotta make sure I have no comp.
Yeah, no competition.
So kind of going into that, do you feel like the selection of sets we have now, they almost was to facilitate what mocks are being built in the space? I can't say because I'm not a mock builder. You are. Do you think there's a, with everything, not going to say leaks or whatever, or rumors, what's going on right now? Do you think with the potential this year, that's going to like really influence the sets that we see for like the next 2 or 3 years, like mock wise?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think in a content creation aspect of it is like you want to remain relevant. If you're using a set from like 2018, that's cool. It's a nostalgic set that's not on shelves anymore. That's cool, but like people aren't really paying attention to that as much as like the sets that are on the shelf right now. So that's why you see a lot of people modding sets, incorporating sets into mocks.
And you do like alt builds with sets too, correct?
Sometimes, yeah. I haven't done one in a while, but yeah, that was kind of like my bread and butter when I first got back into it because
you're doing the battle packs a lot, weren't you?
Yeah, because like back then I didn't have a lot of money, so it was just like get a battle pack on sale here and there kind of thing. Bust out the old collection. So my first alt build that I posted was I took 3 Marauders and made a Imperial gunship.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was super cool. And then it took off. Like it took off in the sense of like I got like 1,000 or 2,000 views on YouTube. And starting out, that's a lot. You know, that's a lot of eyes on it. And then I would post it to Reddit. It would go off on there. And then same with Instagram. Rebrickable, people really like it, and I think it's my second most like downloaded and built alt build, which I'm still super proud of considering it was my first one. But yeah, I forget the question. I kind of just went on a tangent.
Well, hey, that's fine. I just saw this comment out of the blink of my eye. We're gonna just address it, and then we'll get right back to it because it kind of goes with production of the show. But a collector, he said, "I'm not used to Austin being this close to the screen. That he looks different." Well, just know for right now, I actually went and bought a webcam today, and I didn't realize that the MacBook, it doesn't accept regular USB anymore. So I got it, and I'm like, it's getting close to 6:30, and I'm like, oh, I still have so much to do. So we're actually using my cell phone right now. Apparently, you can pair your iPhone with your MacBook, and it can act as a webcam that way. If I'm too close, it's because I have to be at this mic, because with my monitor arm, I can't quite go past it. It will be resolved.
Yeah.
Growing pains.
It's all right. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect, like just build, work on things as you go. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So we're not in a rush here. So,
Yeah.
For the very first main topic of the night, I really want to get in. I want to kind of like pick your brain a little bit. During the 24-hour stream, if you guys were there, you guys may have heard this question, but I want Cole to kind of do a really big deep dive into it. So when you're going to build a mock, what's kind of like the thought process that you have? Do you do like some piece analyzation of what you have? Then you take into account like, oh, I want to use this legion of clones, or or is it kind of just you'll watch something like I want to do that, or is it just something completely different? I just kind of want to know what's your thought process behind it.
Yeah, and just to start off, everybody's thought process is different. It all is dependent on what you have, what is like available, what your budget is, what's relevant, kind of thing. Like if you are a content creator and you want to make sure you get the most bang for your buck in terms of views for the effort that you're putting in. There's a lot to take into account. But for me personally, like when I think about a mock or something I want to do or something like that, it's like, okay, like, what's inspiring me right now? So like, for example, over here, got a mock going on. That was inspired by Tuck Tales. So when that came out, it was like, oh, I got to do something with this. You know what I mean? So I hit up True Squadron and Behind the Bricks, and it was just like, hey guys, you want to do this? And they were like, yeah, let's do it. So that was one reason why I started this mock. And then after that, for me, it's like, okay, I know what I want to do. What can I do with what I have available? Because money doesn't grow on trees. You got to work for it, so it's like, what do I have available now, and then what can I get? So let's say I'm running out of filler brick right now, for example, so I don't have a lot of filler brick left, so I'm gonna have to do a big purchase of that. So it's kind of a necessary purchase, but it's gonna really help with future mocks down the line. So then it's gonna be like, I already have it, so I don't need to buy anything. So I guess with that, it's all about scale. So I want to do something big. I know I can do that. I'm gonna have to stretch pretty thin. But it's like, okay, I can do it like X big or whatever. And then it's like, okay, let's go through colors and stuff like that. Star Wars, it's a lot of gray, a lot of light gray, dark gray. I like to add in a little bit of color. I like using white. White's a great accent. It's just a neutral color, goes with everything. And then obviously your dark red, maroon, whatever you want to call it. That's great for clone bases and stuff like that. So I always have a lot of that on hand. So that's why a lot of my mocks kind of look similar in terms of like color palette.
Because you're working with what you have.
Yeah, and Coconut is like a big proponent of just like pick a color palette and then kind of go from there, because if like, let's say you build Utapau or something like that, you're gonna have a lot of tan, and then just think of like future mocks like that include tan that you can do and stuff like that, because tans, you can use that for a lot of things, desert or buildings, what have you. So
mud.
Exactly, yeah. So it's just a lot of that, and then figures are usually the last thing on my mind, but in this case with Tuck Tales, it's like they have to be near the top of the list, because like that's the whole point, that's the whole purpose. I have to have Tuck, at least one, and then I gotta have the 241st troopers. So so that was another aspect I had to look at. But I guess main thing is just looking at what you got and seeing what you can do. I wanted to do Camino, and I know I couldn't do a huge Camino, like I just didn't have the parts for it at the time.
That landing pad you did though.
Exactly. So I'm just like, what can I do that's cool, and then I can do easily without purchasing more bricks. And it was just a landing pad, and people really enjoyed it. That video did really, really well. Same with on Instagram too, so that did well. But I knew that I wasn't able to get up to like Rich Boy Jay's level with that, because we're just in two different ballparks, you know what I mean? Like I'm in little league, he's in major league, you know what I mean? But it's not don't look at like other people that are doing stuff and just being like, oh, I can't do that. I can't do it as well as that. So I'm not even going to bother doing it. And that's just not a good mentality, because it's like, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, people see that, you know, you're doing something, you know, that's all that matters. But
yeah, because I feel like
yeah,
it goes for anything, even outside of mocks or anything in the Lego space or beyond that. You know, just kind of like dive in. You know, I did that 24-hour stream. All I had was a laptop, and it's like, okay, let's make it work. You know,
exactly. Yeah.
You know, I reckon don't pick something as long and rigorous as 24. Pick, you know, do like a 2-hour. But
yeah, you gotta work your way up to it, but you just went straight for it. And that's admirable.
I'm like, I'm just gonna learn. So I mean, it was 24 hours of consistent learning. So that I was able to learn this pretty quick. So my one question now for you: would you say that passion drives the build?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. You know, you look at all these mock builders, and they're all building stuff they're passionate about, whether it's Star Wars or city or fantasy, medieval kingdoms, that kind of stuff. It's all like, you know, yeah, well, people will kind of stray. Like, for example, like one of my bucket list things to do that's not Star Wars is is Stargate. So like, that's one of my favorite shows, aside from, you know, Star Wars content. And it's like, you know, I would love to build a giant, you know, ring on like some foreign planet, you know, have Captain Carter there with Teal'c and, you know, everybody there. So it's like, you know, it's just whatever drives you kind of thing. So it's like, you know, yeah, it's like whatever you're passionate about at the time, and think passions change. You know, I'm always flipping through, you know, going back and forth with stuff. Star Wars has been like the only thing that's been like consistent, but that's because there's so many different things. Like, there's Empire, Rebels, Separatist, clones, you know, anything. So can I just address a couple of the comments? Carpet Man, he's one of my oldest friends. What's up, Jonah? My favorite filler brick. That's a really great question. I'm so glad you asked that. My filler brick is spring-loaded shooters. I'm not using it for this mock right now because at this scale it kind of messes it up. And I'll go over that in a future video and stuff like that. But it's one of my favorites, and also accent bricks too. And then Last Clone Studios asked which tuck I used. Like what brand. I tried to get my hands on the GCC, and that's another thing with this day and age of Lego is the resale values. I wasn't able to get tuck, you know.
I missed them too. I had them in my cart for you.
Yeah,
then we actually
30 seconds.
When you and I were walking around at Brick World, I told you I found one, and the guy was asking $680.
Yeah, and when I went up to him and I'm just like, oh, you have tuck, like I need this. And he's like, 400 and it's yours. And I go, oh, and I just set it down. And I'm like, yeah.
I had him talked down to 200 because I was the last group to go through. I had him talked down to 200. I'm like, man, do I do this as a gift for Cole?
No, don't. Please don't. Not that much money.
Then I'm like, man, especially in my mind, because, you know, GCC, they're big believers in doing V1, V2, V3s. So
I'm waiting for a V2.
Yeah, I have a feeling, you know, especially as we get closer to High Ground Animations, I believe this is doing the project, correct?
Yeah.
I believe as we get closer to them launching the show or the little short film, we'll get more. You know, I would. Yeah, this is correct. GCC is restocking him in a bit. Some point in this half of the year, I think.
That's great to hear because I really do like the way it looks and everything about it. But so it was just like I had I had him in my hands, and it was just like 400, and like I knew like I wasn't gonna get him down to a price that I was comfortable with, so I just kind of just like thanks but no thanks kind of thing. You know, you said you talked him down to 200. That's still way too much for me. You know, maybe $50-$60, like, and that's pushing it. That's really pushing it for me for one figure. You know, even though like it's something I really want, you know. But yeah, I just kind of took the L, but I saw that Jonak Toys was doing some UV print ones, you know, people will say that UV isn't as good as pad or something like that, but UV's come a long way. You know,
Yeah,
I think
and
we all
it's
can
growing
agree.
more.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, I'm like, okay, like I can get the full set. I can get, I think it's like, is it hard case, tuck? I don't know all the names off the top of my head.
For
For
the
like Tuck's group and Tuck Tails.
hard cases with 501st.
Oh, okay. Then I'm totally wrong.
I
But
can't tell you, dude. That's a
yeah,
high ground animations question.
yeah. I mean, I have it written down somewhere, but I got all 4 of like the named characters that he had out and stuff like that. So they were all UV printed except for the helmets. The helmets you had to decal. I was
Yeah.
fine with that. It came with extra decals in case you messed up, which was great. But it was UV printed on Lego parts on the medium Azure or whatever they're using. They look good. You know, I'm very happy with them. It didn't come with the GCC like
Visor?
tuck visor and stuff like that. It just came with the CAC one, which was
Hey,
totally
so
fine.
that's fine.
Yeah, and
They have the feather printed on the actual one.
yeah, they had an actual feather on it, which looks great, but you know, not with the GCC. But that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge stickler. Like I have tuck. That's all I
Mhm.
care about right now.
Yep.
So if GCC comes out with the V2, then I will do my best to get it.
In due time.
Yeah. So that's what I have now. And then I also purchased, I purchased 50 of 241st Clone Trooper decals from Coffee.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I just saw his store not too long ago.
I need to get his name right because I'd feel bad otherwise.
Yeah. We'll say coffee something for right now.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone will say something in the chat.
It's CMD Coffee Mug Design.
Yeah, okay.
There we go.
Yep.
So I got 50 from him, but he ended up sending me like 70 or 80 decals.
Oh, wow.
Big shout out to that person. I love that.
Big GWP with that one.
Yeah, right. So I have a lot of decaling to do. I like the color on, you know, Coffee's decals a lot more than I like the color on Jonax. Not saying Jonax is bad. It's just like I just like the color. It's a little more vibrant on his with Jonax is a little more desaturated, which is fine. I don't know which one's more accurate. But at this point it's just like I just need figures and I want figures, and I'm not being too picky about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
I will say you'll like this one. You were actually in the hotel room. You came with me when we figured this one out. Oh boy, this all.
Oh, it looks so good.
Yeah. It's not going to focus, but it's actually the very first generation of Rex that GCC did. So, because I was giving out the microfighters like candy.
Yeah.
And I ripped the arms off of that one and just plopped them right on, and it's golden. But kind of going, we kind of derailed a little bit. You know, that happened. It's bound to happen.
Yeah.
We're too clone.
That's all right. I love talking about this stuff, and I'm giving out too much information. You gotta wait for the videos, people.
Yeah. So, do you kind of going back to it? Did you always start off doing mock videos, like even in your very original, like back then? So
yeah.
Where do you think because I'm sure not trying to throw shade or anything, you weren't the mock builder you were then that you are now.
No, definitely not. Absolutely not.
Now that you have all this experience under your belt, probably what, 10 years worth, would you say? On and off?
Yeah, I mean definitely over 10 years of on and off. But if we're just doing like just straight experience, I'd say maybe like closer to 5 or 6 years.
Right on. So if you could go back and tell young Cole, when you were first, planning out your first big project, what would you tell young Cole? Like, okay, these are the parts that you should be investing in. This is how you should be setting up size-wise, or this is how it should be structure. What components of all of that would you go back and tell yourself, or someone that might be listening right now that wants to get into mock building but just has no idea where to begin?
Start small and then work your way up. He's in the chat right now, Last Clone Studios. That's kind of what he's doing. I don't know how big he wants to go with mock building in the future, but he's starting small. He's packing a bunch of detail. He's learning so many different techniques. He's doing fantastic work. So that's what I would say is just like, don't worry about trying to get on like Lego Boys level or something like that. Like,
Yeah, that comes with time.
like he has the parts for that.
Yeah,
He's able to do that.
and he's
You
also,
are not.
he's also gained what Geonosis. He actually had help from Lego themselves.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah,
don't take what
I
they're
don't
doing
have
out of
Lego.
context.
I don't have help from Lego. You know what I
No, we're
mean?
just
And
people
that's
that
okay.
are just regular Joes.
Yeah. But just to go back, like I think it's important to have people like David doing these amazing, huge mocks.
Yeah, because it gets people inspired.
It inspires so many people, and it's also just pushing the boundary of like what you can do with Lego. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? You need those people to really push the envelope and innovate and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, and if you look at like his behind the scenes videos, a lot of the techniques he's using, is very basic, and I mean that in a nice way, where it's just like it's basic techniques that's like the foundation, going through, and then you'll see like some super intricate building techniques that he's using for like super high detailed aspects of it and stuff like that, and that's where the pushing the boundary comes from. But if you really look like deep into it, a lot of the like the snot techniques, like that's pretty basic in terms of like the grand scheme
Hmm.
of things,
Yeah.
but it's super important to have that, because it's also showing people like you don't need to do anything crazy to get some really high detail like work
Hmm.
done. So but yeah, just I would tell myself, don't compare yourself to people farther along, and that's with anything in terms of career, or just passion or whatever. Is just don't look to the people that are ahead of you for
Hmm.
inspiration, but
Yeah.
don't compare yourself to them, because David has like a decade more experience than me. He has like maybe like 100 times more parts than I have,
Hmm.
so he just has all this stuff that he has worked up to and he has built up. And it's not fair to myself to look at that and be like, I gotta be that. I gotta do that.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you don't have to do that right now. You can do that later. So, and it's not going to happen overnight. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I looked at my Lego room today, and I'm just like, wow, it's come a long way in the past like 3 years.
Hmm.
You know,
Even watching your little room tour updates over the
mhm.
last few years, it's definitely
Yeah,
multiplied. It's like it's
and
giving
yeah,
birth to itself.
it's just you gotta keep working at it.
Hmm.
A lot of the people that you look up to didn't just happen to get there. They didn't just land there. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
they
They
got their
worked
time.
their butt off. And I saw something where it's like I don't know if it was a reel or something like that, but this artist showed this celebrity a painting that they did for them,
Oh
and
yeah, yep.
I think you saw, what I'm talking about, but
Mhm.
he also teaches like younger kids like how to paint and draw and stuff like that, but he
Mhm.
shows his older work, and I think
Yeah,
that's super important. That's why I have my videos up from 10, 12 years ago. It's just like you got to show people where you started, because
yeah.
like if you just show them what you're doing now, like that's great, that's inspiring, but like people got to gauge, they got to understand that like it's something you work up to you know
Mhm. And kind of going to that, going, but as I said, last night or the night before, I went and I watched like your entire channel, every video, not the live streams. I'm sorry, fake fan.
No, that's fine, please
Uh,
don't.
I had to get some ideas for this because being the first one and you being the first guest, which I'm more than you know happy to have. Like, couldn't have asked for a better first guest because what Cole, we've been in pretty close contact over the last 2 years, wouldn't you say?
I think so, yeah, for sure. We were partners in crime at Brick World.
Oh yeah.
You definitely made that trip worthwhile, because I went in there and I'm just like, I don't really know anybody.
Hmm. I was in the
um
same boat.
Yeah, and it's just like, and I think that's super important for anybody that just wants to go to like a convention or anything like that.
Hmm.
It's just like, just go, you'll make friends. Everybody's so kind. everybody is so kind at Brick World. You know, everybody's there for the same reason.
Yeah.
And as much as you hear people complaining about, oh, the yard sale sucks, or you know,
No,
this stinks or
it's
that stinks,
great.
they're like, that's not the reason people are going. The
Yeah.
reason people are going is to
Hang
connect,
out.
you know, hang out, just like take a break from life, you know, just really enjoy the hobby and the community and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And it's truly magical, you know, like I don't know another word. It's just magical,
It's
you know.
where dreams come true.
Absolutely. Yeah, for
Sticking
sure.
Disney's line there. But I had one question. I was watching that video. Like on your shelves, like, in your room then, you had all your minifigures just completely like watching.
Yeah.
So how did that come out to be?
Just like the minifig wall.
Yeah.
I you know, like I was like super into the minifigures. And I saw other people's minifig walls and I'm just like, you know, they had like the glass cases and
Yeah.
like all this fancy stuff. And I'm just like, I want to display my figures and stuff like that. So, you know, I don't hate me, but I went on Amazon and bought a bunch of like third-party base plates because I needed a lot. I wasn't going to spend $100 $200 on base plates, uh you know, just to tile over or something like that. That's just too much money, you know. Just spent $30 on gray tiny base plates, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I did that and just, you know, set up all my figures and stuff like that. And I was doing a lot of mocks at the time, so I could see all the figures that I had and just be able to pick them off the wall and just be like, oh, I could use this, I could use this. Just have everything out in front of you, because when it's in bins, it's like you kind of forget what you have. You know what I mean? And some people are like, oh, you're gonna crack the legs, you know, the sun damage, blah blah blah. And I'm just like, me personally, I don't care about that. Like,
that makes the figs beautiful in my opinion.
yeah, I mean, like, and here's the thing too, it's like if you just take care of it, like, you know, obviously accidents, stuff happens, like that's out of your control, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
But like I have my childhood figures that like, you know, the old brown, like, you know, this, that, and the other thing. And it's like no cracks, no nothing. Like, you know, it was from my childhood, you know. Yeah, it's probably been sitting for a long time.
Scratched up.
Yeah, but it's like, you know, that's my childhood stuff. Like I'm not gonna get rid of it. And even if it does get a crack, like, that stinks, but like, oh well, you know, kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, but yeah, that was the whole reason for the minifig walls, because I just wanted to see everything that I had.
And do you think, you know, when you're beginning to mock, do you start and take a look at that and be like, okay, these are the figs that I can use, but which one, like what scenes are they in that matches my part collection right now? So you don't have to go out and buy like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 worth of parts to match with that one fig. Or is there ever times where you're like, you know what, forget, I'm just gonna buy whatever I want because I want to just use this one fig?
Yeah, it kind of just goes, you know, either way. It's just like, I'll buy whatever figure that I really want, but I'm not gonna break the bank on stuff. Like, you know, with the GCC tuck, it's like I'm not spending over $60 on that, like, let alone any figure. The only figure that I ever purchased over $100 was my Admiral Thrawn. I had 2 goats. I didn't even know I had the goats. So I went to Bricks and Minifigs and traded them in, and they're just like, we can give you $100 store credit. And I'm just like, can we just do a trade for that Thrawn? And they're like, sure, yeah. So he was priced at $150. So I thought it was a really good trade. Like literally, I just traded in goats and got a fig, plus a bag of Lego too. So it's like,
there you go.
I mean, I was never going to use those goats.
The only person I know that would want the goats is Nicole. Girl bricks a lot. She
Oh yeah. Did she have like a lot?
I know she's like a big avid fan for the goats.
Yeah, I mean they're great. They're
great mold. Don't get me wrong, but they're just not my thing.
Yeah.
But kind of, you know, one of the big lingering questions I have for you is, do you being a content creator, you know, with what you're doing, do you feel that analytics drive what you build? Like, do you find yourself going sometimes more off of analytics and passion, or is it the two of them combined into each other. Because you're doing this as also not just a hobby, but also like a business too. At the end of the day, in a way.
Yeah. So I kind of treat it like a business. I treat it like a business, and it is technically a business because I do bring in money from
Yeah.
it, from ad revenue. It's not a lot, but I do.
Mm.
So, but I do treat it like a business just because, like, if I don't, then there's no structure, and then that's just how I operate. Like, it's just like if I don't treat it like a business, then stuff's not going to get done. And
Yeah.
I know there's been a big gap since my last video and stuff like that, but obviously I'm working on stuff,
Mm.
but I have other businesses that I'm trying to grow and that are doing really well. So it's like I'm focusing on that as opposed to this. I had one person say, like, if you just devoted a little bit more time, you could be doing this full time. I'm like, yeah, you're probably right, but it's just like that's not my primary thing. But yeah, can you repeat the question? I'm so sorry.
No,
My brain
you're
is
totally
fogged.
fine. You're fine, man. I was curious. Do you feel that sometimes, sometimes as you're like we both said, running this is sometimes is like with a business mentality.
Mhm.
Do you find yourself sometimes looking to build more for analytical or versus passion?
When I first started, yes. When I first started, absolutely. As I went on, I just stopped caring. And depending on it all depends on what your end goal is. If your end goal is to get the views and make this a career and stuff like that, then yeah, you're gonna be analytic driven. It's not like Caleb Firebird Breaks just blew up out of nowhere.
Yeah,
Like the
his
man,
growth was insane.
he studied, he took the time to look at the numbers, look what's trending and stuff like that. And he's at where he is at now. He's doing it full time,
Yeah,
and
for
it's
sure.
awesome. And his videos it's every video is a banger. It's like
Yeah,
great,
no matter what. The
he
editing's always
found
on
his thing.
point. Music's
Yeah.
great. Everything.
Yeah. So like if you want to get to that point, then absolutely, yeah, for sure, analytic driven content is the way to go. But if you're just wanting to have fun and enjoy the hobby and do things, connects with people, then don't look at the views, don't look at the 1 out of 10 or whatever. And I started doing that and I had a lot more fun. And one of my videos, the cat armor, I always bring it up because it did so bad. Like it's still under 1,000 views, I think. And it's like I just had fun with that, like I got to play with my cat. Like, I love my cat dearly,
That video is great, with the helmet.
Yeah. And she was so good, she's a very like go with the flow kind of cat. So it's not like I forced her to get into like this Lego armor or stuff like that. I ended up just placing it on her back. I didn't like strap it to her. But it's like I just wanted to do it. I thought it would be a fun video to make and do, and it's just like I just did it. And same with the Batman video. Like I knew that wouldn't perform well. You know what I mean? Like I know my audience and like the people who subscribed want to see Star Wars content. They want to see alt builds. They want to see whatever. And I understand that. And I do want to provide that to the people that watch my stuff, because without them, like, there's nothing there in terms of like views or analytics or anything like that. And it's like, but it's also like if I want to keep making content, I got to be happy, so it's like
you will get burnt out real quick.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and there was a point in time where I was just burnt out, and like when I came home, I'm just like, I don't want to work on the Star Wars mock. Like I'm only building this because I know it's going to do well.
Speaking of like where you said like with connections, this show was what we're doing right now is merely spawned out of I've been watching everyone's content for the last few years. It's just the one thing I could say to anyone. I'm not big into this at all. I haven't been in here long, but the one thing I learned is like it's not how you do, but it's also kind of how like who you know.
Yeah,
because having you on here, my channel it's not even at 200 subs or whatever. So I have who I do have. I know them all pretty personally over the years. being in ACOB streams, tuning in when you were streaming with your interviews with like Kennedy, Coconut, and you had Firebird, and they also had Luke. You've had all these guests on. I feel like that's also. Do you ever find yourself making content for them? In a way.
Yeah, like you don't mean like literally like, recording a video and just sending it to
not
them.
like that. No.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, like it's like because they're your peers at a certain point. Like you said, it's not about it's sometimes about who you know. And especially with the industry I'm in, I'm a photographer. I want to do more video stuff. So like I'm working on the videography aspect of my stuff, but I'm a photographer. And if I just continued on doing what I was doing, just kind of gliding by, doing shoots here and there, that kind of thing, I don't think I would be at the point. I know I wouldn't be at the point I am today, where I'm, photographing high profile people like CEOs, CFOs.
That one guy, the rapper guy, is now into State Farm commercials.
Yeah, Ludacris. Yeah, so I got to photograph Ludacris and his full set, backstage stuff. And
right before Brickworld.
Yeah, like and coming off of that high, just to go to another high of Brickworld was insane. But my point is, like, I wouldn't be doing that if I didn't make connections in that field. There was someone who's farther along than me, doing this stuff, and they needed help, because they have so many clients they're bringing in. They need help with that. So I was like, yes, I got you. Like, whatever you need. I want to learn. I want to, I want to do great things. Like so that's kind of like my connection with this. Is where it's like connections in the community are so much more important than what you're putting out. So it's like, if you're making like great videos, that's awesome, but like if you're not connecting with anybody in the community, then you're just on your own. And that sucks. I exactly, like for example, you have so many more connections, way more connections than I have. Like,
I won't say that, man.
No, for sure. Like, and than most of these like bigger creators, that are pushing like 200,000 subscribers, and it's like, because you just want to connect with people. And
I'm just here for a good time. I'm not here for analytics or whatever. I'm just here
like,
to give people
then you look at the chat and you're like, I see Last Clone, I see CPA, I see Scott, like I see True Squadron, Brick Hive, like all these big name people. And I apologize, like I see Shreddy all the time. And
there's so many, but we don't mean to leave anyone out.
But like, I'm just saying, everyone in your chat is like, are like big name people, and it's just like, and there's a reason for that. You're a very charismatic, likable person, and you're a good person. So it's just like, like that comes with that. So yes, Pockets Master, I'm sorry I didn't see you. There you go. See, like you just
Roomy.
So many great people that are coming to your stream and supporting you. And I think that's and it's like, it's not even just random people, it's people and connect with and stuff like that. And I think that's way more valuable than just having some random person come on. Not to discount the random person, because they're supporting you in that aspect, but just having those connections to where you can reach out to, let's say, Shy Time. You can reach out to Shy and just be like, hey man, can you record this like quick little clip for a video? And I'm sure he would say yes, like without skipping a beat. He would just be like, yeah, anything for you, Austin. For sure.
Big shout out to Shy to get this mic working. I spent like 3.5 hours trying to get this thing to work.
Oh man. And then it wasn't plug in and play kind of thing.
It was not. Apple needed me to go through like 50,000 settings. So I reached out to Shy, because his production is just through the roof. I think it's something we all aspire to.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I reached out to him in not even 2 minutes. And meanwhile, I totally forgot about all the wildfires happening by him. That didn't even cross my mind when here I am, my small problem with a microphone, where this guy's trying to make sure his family's safe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I didn't click at the time, but he took like a good hour out of his day to help me find the solution.
Yeah.
And I think when you're first into it, don't expect that right out of the pocket.
Yeah.
'Cause, like what you and I have, we started out just like texting like once every few weeks, and now it's almost a daily thing. Like today
Oh
you're
yeah.
like, oh, how often do you do this with this?
Yeah.
Big shout out to a company that starts with a Z. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
We all know who it is. We all know. I would definitely, but going back off, so do you feel that there's, with the audiences and stuff, do you feel like there's a big disconnect with big creators? Like, I'm not trying to call anyone out here. I'm not throwing any slander. I'm just asking a genuine question. I want to throw that out there. I don't want someone to clip it, like, oh, this guy just called this guy out. No, if you do, I'd be more than happy to clear the air with them. Do you feel that there's a big disconnect with creators and their audiences once they hit a certain level? Like, take, for example, Solid Bricks. Do you feel like that there's a disconnect with him and his audience?
Yeah. I mean, like someone even bigger than Solid Bricks is Emma Soros.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to just talk with her, meet with her at Brick World. Such a nice person. Like exactly who you see on camera is who you meet. You know what I mean? But as much as hard as you will ever try, there is going to be a disconnect. And that's okay. You know what I mean? As long as both parties understand that, you know what I mean? There's a difference between like me with 10K, streaming and then knowing everybody in the chat. Like I still know people, who first, like, for example, Scott was one of the first people that joined one of my streams, and like I will forever know him. He is more of a friend than someone who just watches my content. So but then you get to this point of where you're raking in like hundreds of thousands of views upon millions, and it's like then there's that disconnect with people where you can't have a connection with everybody. You know what I mean? Even if like everybody wanted to have that deep of a connection with you, you know what I mean? So it's like it's kind of, it stinks because like you want to give people that connection, but you also deserve to have some privacy in your life. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to share everything. Like I don't share everything online, obviously. Nobody does really. Some people do, but that doesn't turn out too well for them, kind of thing. So but it's, I don't even want to call it an unfortunate thing. It's just something that happens, and and that's totally fine. But I guess as a viewer, like let's say one of the people that I'm like, I love and watch their content all the time is Adam Savage. His channel Tested.
Love it. I met him in Columbus last year.
Yeah,
great guy.
I got to meet him when he was doing his kind of like live tour with Vsauce. So I got to meet him and Michael. I got VIP passes for me and my younger brother, and that was really great. But it's like you got to understand, like, a lot about this person, or you think you do, but this person does not know you. You are a random person, to this person. So it's like you just got to go into that with like the mindset of just meeting them for the first time, because you technically are, but like you know a lot more about them than they do about you. So but and then it's just like, I'm sure a lot of creators at Brick World like make it like swarms by like fans. You know what I mean? And
so
it's
you have
like
to be in private days.
It's like, you want to meet everybody and stuff like that, but it's just like, hey, like give me some breathing room kind of thing. It's like, it's a lot. Like, I've never been in that scenario, but like I've had like 2 or 3 people come up to me who I didn't know, but they knew me from like a mutual friend or something like that. But they knew a lot more about me than I knew about them. So it was kind of just like, it was jarring, and and I can't imagine someone having like a lot of people come up to them on the daily, you know, with that kind of thing. So it's just like, you know, just understanding that there is going to be that disconnect, and it's okay, you know. So it's, but yeah, to answer your question, absolutely, there's going to be some disconnect the bigger you get in terms of audiences and stuff like that. But yeah.
So, you know, I want to ask you one more question because I'm trying to be respectful of your time. We've already almost crossed an hour here.
I know. How long did you want these to go for?
You know, like an hour and a half. But tonight, you know, a lot of the folks here in the chat are ACOB boys, Girth Gang members, and I want to be respectful to my friends Sean and Brent. You know, with their show, I don't want to be seen like trying to steal their crowd or whatever. You know, like I said,
are they streaming?
Yeah, they stream every Thursday at 9. So,
okay.
I just want to ask you one more question before we open up to chat. Chat, make sure you get your questions in here for Cole. Start clacking away. If I don't hear like your 60s secretary noises coming from your computer, I don't want it. But yeah, Shreddy says this is the ACOB pregame.
There you
well,
go.
I'm honored. That's quite some words to live up to. But my last question for you is, you know, we kind of touched on it earlier. Say if there's, you know, someone here watching or someone that's listening through, you know, selected channels, post live, that, you know, they're wanting to get into what this is, just the Lego community as a whole, and start creating. What is it that you wish you knew, and what is the pressure that's like non-existent? Like the pressure you thought that was going to be there, it just wasn't a thing.
Yeah, if I was younger and knew nothing, or it doesn't even matter your age at this point. Like if you just are like, you know what, I just want to do it. Just do it. You know what I mean? And I know it's easier said than done. But don't worry about all the technical stuff. Don't worry about the views. Don't worry about the analytics, the retention, this, that, the other thing. You're gonna learn as you go. You know, and people understand that too. You know, the people who are watching videos are not dumb. You know what I mean? That like they know what's going on. You know, probably more than, you know, whoever's making the content does. So it's like the big thing that I like, the three big ones I want to say for when starting is like good audio quality. You know, that's just, I don't care if you're running 480p, you know, as long as you have like a good microphone or something like that. Yeah, like that's all that matters. Like as long as I can hear you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're clear, you know, that's the next thing is like just be clear. Like you can ramble and stuff like that. I've been rambling and stuff, but as long as you drop kind of like the uhs and pauses and stuff like that to an extent, you don't have to remove all of them. It's just how people talk, you know what I mean? Yeah, Scott, get a good mod too. Absolutely.
Yeah. Speaking, he's a mod in everyone, so I'm gonna.
Oh yeah. If you don't have Scott as a mod, like
then you're
just not doing it right.
But I don't want to, you know, take away from what you're saying, just because I know that he's probably about to be leaving here, and he's a really good friend. He says, just want to congratulate Austin on a great start on a new endeavor, and Cole for being a spectacular first guest on the Brick Connection. I appreciate it. But so, you know, you're saying audio.
Yeah.
You know, but beyond that, what do you think's, you know, like a shadow in their mind, like, oh, I'm not going to succeed? Like, do you think if that's their first thought that they shouldn't do it?
Yeah. Don't doubt yourself. You know what I mean? And it's also, it goes back to what I said earlier, where it's like, don't compare yourself to people who have been doing this for years. You know, this isn't my first YouTube channel. I've done video stuff, production stuff before, you know, so my videos are going to look better than someone who's just starting out with like their iPhone or, you know, Android camera or something like that. You know, don't compare yourself to that, because other people aren't comparing you to them either.
Yeah.
And whoever does, like, obviously is just trying to put you down because maybe they're having a bad day, you know, that kind of thing. So it's like, you know, don't compare yourself to people who have been doing this longer, because that's not fair. Like I can't compare my work to a photographer that's been photographing for 50, 60 years and then photographing celebrities. Like that's not a fair comparison. Like they've had so much more time to perfect what they are doing. but also just make what you want, you know what I mean? Yeah, sure, go by trends, but the thing I see with that is just like, if you go by trends, yeah, you'll have a video pop off, you'll get a lot of subscribers and views and stuff like that, and then it's just going to go back down. So that high that you were at, you're going to go back down to where you were, maybe a little bit better. And that's fine. You had a video pop off. Not every video is going to pop off like TD Bricks, you know what I mean? He's got the formula, he's got it down pat, kind of thing. But again, he didn't just get there, he's been making videos for years before. So
dude,
exactly,
Firebird, he nailed it right on the head. But also big shout out to him. He's a big motivator for me to be doing this. He's backed me since way before I even when I was just had the little inkling of starting, like last year. This time last year I was like, you know what, I might start. But thanks for pushing me, dude.
And that's the other thing to add is like, absolutely, Firebird, just your videos aren't going to be the greatest starting out. You're going to constantly improve with each video, and that's something you should do, is like look back at your videos, look at what maybe didn't work, show other people your work, and get like real feedback from them. Be like, hey, what didn't work for you in this, and then tweak it in the next video. And it's just small changes that build up to something big, the more you do it, kind of thing. But also it's like, I told Caleb this, and I'm just like, I was like super nervous to reach out to him for him to come on my like little podcast that I was doing at the time, like just to chat, hang out. And I was just like, he's probably gonna say no, like he's way bigger than me, he's doing really great work and stuff like that, like I'm just like this little creator with like nothing. But he was just like, yeah, sure. You're like, I like your stuff, like for sure, let's do it. And
he's still not allowed to have come on.
And it's like, you just don't be afraid to reach out. What's the worst they can say? No, I mean, and like I said, everybody is so kind and respectful and wants everybody else to like succeed in their aspirations and stuff like that. So, I know Last Clone Studios, back when he had like, maybe 300-400 subscribers or something like that, he's like, hey, could you come on the stream? I'm just like, I'm not doing anything. Yeah, sure, why not? And at this point I was like creeping up to like 10K subs or something like that. He's like, I'm so surprised you came. I'm just like, I wasn't doing anything else, like, you know what I mean, like, yeah, let's talk, and then they picked my brain, we had a good time, and it's just like everybody's like here to help, kind of thing. Don't be afraid to reach out for help. So just improve with each video, just lower expectations to the point where it's just like, just do it because you want to and you're having fun, and reach out to people. It, like you said earlier, it's all about who build those connections, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's all I got to say to someone who wants to start off, is just do it.
Don't do what I did, make one video and then wait 7 months to upload again. But with all that being said, Cole, is there anything else you'd like to add for tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I think this was a great first podcast, and I like the way you do things. You're very structured. You got preparation in it, and that goes a long way. That's another thing, is prepare. If you're starting off, do what Austin's doing. Prepare, have an outline, make a script, that kind of thing. But yeah, just I guess to everyone watching, like, thank you for being who you are and being such a amazing part of this community. Like, everyone here is the reason why I love this community so much, and I continue to be in this community, is because it's just amazing. You don't get this with a lot of other communities. I've been in a few other communities, and it is nothing like this. I mean, I'm looking at the poor Pokemon TCG company like community right now, and it's in flames because of scalpers and stuff like that. And I feel for those like fans, you know, and it's just like, man, that's a tough thing they're going through. And, you know, but like, man, like just so many amazing people. Yeah, you're gonna have like people that you disagree with or who aren't the kindest and stuff like that. But that's just life. That everywhere is gonna have that kind of thing.
Mhm.
But don't let that kind of like get you out of you know what you want to do, you know. And so thank you to everyone. Thank you to Austin. You know,
Well,
you're
thanks for coming
amazing.
on, man. Oh, dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
No,
Happy
you're the
to.
amazing one, buddy. You know, I want to give a shout out. He's going to be a guest here on Saturday, so make sure you guys tune in.
Let's go.
Tree Squadron. Kennedy. He's another really good friend, and I think it's a nice way to kind of.
Now you call me a great mock builder. This guy.
No, you're both.
Well, I gotta say, Kennedy is the king of terrain. His terrain is second to none. You know, if you look at his Geonosis, it's just like immaculate. It's the perfect like ratio of stud to tile and like elevation and smooth transitions. Oh, it's just so good. So yeah,
me and
great work.
Me and Nate were actually on a phone call too, like gushing over his terrain work for like 10 minutes. He says, no question. I just want to say great questions and great answers, Cole. Well done for the first episode. Well, I appreciate it. And, you know, as we're about to sign off here, if you have any last remarks, go for it.
Yeah. Again, thank everybody for just being who they are and supporting Austin and, you know, just the community in general, and keep creating, keep doing awesome stuff. Same to you, Austin. Keep doing what you're doing.
I'll try just for you.
You know, I have a feeling this time next year, maybe even by Brick World, you know, you're just going to be, you know, shooting off into the stars and, you know, doing great things. And,
I hope.
know, we just need more people like you in this community, you know, not to say there aren't, but, you know, it's just, we need a lot of more driven, you know, people that are just about the community, you know, not about the content creation, not about like this, that, or the other thing, like, you know, just getting everybody together, because that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
That it is. And Collector says add me to that, and the ratio would be much more. Oh wow. I appreciate it. But and I guess my last remarks to, you know, to you, Cole, thanks for coming on, man. Like,
no problem.
It's just awesome to have you on as the, you know, the first ever guest. You know, that's for the history books, and I want to thank everyone that, you know, came in. There's so many. I don't want so many legends. You know, content creator or not, everyone's just legendary.
Oh my gosh!
All people I've known for, you know, even though it's only been like a year or two, max of 3, it feels like I've known them for 15, 20 years. You know, you know, someone that you went to kindergarten with, you know, it's what it feels like. You know, thanks for, you know, helping me get this podcast together, because without the viewers or people that are going to be eventually listening on audio afterward, you know, it wouldn't be possible without them. And just for the, you know, this is a big passion for me. You know, I've never felt more like desire to want to do something than this. And a big shout out to Shy for, you know, kind of like, in a way, giving me the green light, because he also runs a podcast, Sitting on the Stoop. That was a big motivation for this. And good old Lex Friedman, hence why I have the black curtain, because right behind there is where my bed is, and that's not a nice sight.
That's all right.
Yeah, you know,
that's all right.
You know, and on that note, I don't want to subtract from ACOB viewership, because we're 9 minutes over.
Like the stream,
like it or don't like it. Do what you want. I would appreciate if you did. Out of
comment, share,
get the what's that term called? Engagement up.
Yes, we got to get the engagement up.
Engagement.
Get it recommended.
So, yeah. On that note, I think I'm gonna play the intro again, because I think that was actually pretty good.
Dude, the intro came out awesome. Yeah.
Dude, I whipped that up in like 10 or 15 minutes.
It's great. It's great.
I was scared, and just because, you know, there was people that tuned in later on that didn't get to witness it. So, with that said, it's been a pleasure hosting, and we'll be back on Saturday, but with a different guest. And not to say Cole may or may not be making a future return. So, you know, we plan on doing this little show long term. So, with that being said, just thanks everyone tuning in. And Cole, we can chat in the green room if you want.
Yeah.
Catch up.
See everybody.
It's been a pleasure. If you guys have any questions at all that we didn't get to, make sure to leave them in the comment on the Brick Connection Instagram with this post, with the post that's affiliated with this stream. And I'm sure that Cole or myself, we'll get back to you. It might be a little bit, but I'm sure we'll get to you.
We'll do it.
Do it. So with that said, thanks everyone for liking, commenting, subscribing, and just being here. That just goes a long way itself. So, and thanks to one of my good friends, Cody, Matt Black Bricks, for sponsoring this podcast.
Heck yeah.
Without him, we would not be able to do this. So with that said, just thanks to him, thanks to you, Cole, everyone in the chat. You guys made this a real one. So on that note, see ya.